Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's AEPA webinar. My name is Kara Hart, and I represent the state of Connecticut on the board of the Association of Educational Purchasing Agencies, better known as AEPA. AEPA is a national purchasing cooperative made up of representatives from educational service agencies in 31 states, serving as the board of AEPA. Together, we conduct national bids on behalf of our members and then extend those competitive awarded contracts to schools, municipalities, and nonprofits in all 50 states. By working together, we alleviate the burden of our customers having to go out to bid themselves. Our collective purchasing power allows us to secure significant savings through volume-based purchasing. AEPA currently partners with over 80 awarded vendor partners across more than 32 categories, including turf, tracks, and courts, instructional and school supplies, maintenance and custodial products, cybersecurity solutions, and much more. And every year we add additional categories and vendors. This year, we're proud to be celebrating our 25th anniversary, which is a milestone that reflects our continued growth in membership, vendor partnerships, and total sales. Our monthly webinar series is designed to help provide timely, informative content to our customers while also increasing awareness of AEPA and the high-quality solutions offered by our vendor partners. Today's session will feature Melissa Dietz from CDW, who will talk about understanding the device lifecycle. We will leave time at the end for questions, so please feel free to submit your questions via the chat at any time. This session is also being recorded for those who may want to revisit it later or share it with colleagues. Our next webinar will be held on August 20th and will feature one of our cybersecurity vendors, Resolute Guard, who will talk about safeguarding our communities. We hope you will join us again for that session. And now I'll hand it over to Melissa.
Thanks, Kara. So thanks, everybody. Good afternoon and good morning to anybody joining us. Wanted to introduce myself, Melissa Dietz. I'm with CDW. I've been with the CDW family for 19 years now, and I reside in Pennsylvania. And one of the things that we are seeing as an emerging trend throughout some of our different sectors that we work with within state and local government and both sides of the House of Education are device trends and the life cycle and what that looks like. You might see it even in your homes. Maybe your refrigerator or your washer and dryer isn't built like it used to be. And sometimes devices, they kind of follow the same suit. And there is a life cycle and a refresh cycle that comes with those as well. So I just wanted to spend some time with you all today talking about some of the device trends, what we've been seeing, some of the different things that we've worked with some of our other customers and some of the best practices that we have developed along the way when it comes to in terms of life cycle management. So what I want to go through first is looking at device trends here. So as we're looking at this information that came from FutureSource, this is a look over the past 10 years of what devices have looked like into the market. The blue notates the different Google devices that are out there. Red is Apple and yellow is Microsoft Windows-based devices. And as you can see, we were trucking along and then all of a sudden in 2020, and I think we all know what happened in 2020 to induce that spike. And even though consumption has backed off a little bit, we are still seeing instances where there is a one-to-one initiative for devices. So think about how we are all working or learning. So I'm a remote coworker and I have been for a number of years with CDW. So I have a device that is dedicated to me. When we look at our public works, police force, anybody who is out there in market, they have a device that they are taking out to do their work as well. When you look at K through 12 districts, there are many districts I think will be very challenged to find any that are not in a one-to-one initiative right now. And what we're seeing is a difference and a shift in needing to understand how to manage the fleet of those devices. So there is a lifespan on them, and the more applications that you're putting into your device, the more analytics that you're running and different things like that, that takes the compute power and really enforces a way that you need to think about when you're going to refresh that device and what that looks like. So just to give you an idea of what we look at now with just K-12 device programs, so post-pandemic, most areas have officially gone to a fully one-to-one. My children in the district that we are in, they even to kindergarten, they are a one-to-one. The kids are issued their devices and they have them for a certain number of years and they refresh at pivotal moments, typically fourth and fifth grade and then maybe ninth grade. But they have a fleet and a plan that they put in there. One of the other things that we are really seeing and working with a lot of customers, that federal funding is not only drying up, but in some instances it's no longer available. And not only does this impact K-12, this also impacts higher education and some other state and local entities as well. There's a lot of federal funding out there to help adapt to post-pandemic initiatives and then just the way of the world and working in a remote environment. Devices are leaving the classroom, they are leaving the workforce, they are leaving anywhere where they are residing. Putting together a plan for this to ensure that not only are they staying safe when they leave from a physical standpoint, but also from a security standpoint. So as they are connecting to different networks, you're exposing your device to that different risk of somebody able to access into that. Breakage rates have increased on an average from 10% to 20 to 40% because of devices being so mobile. If you think back years ago, devices, especially laptops, used to maybe be like the equivalent of a brick. And now they are sleeker, they're slimmer, and they are more mobile. And that also promotes not only dropping it, but if you think about where you're working, I've got water on my desk, promoting a spillage or anything like that. So there's always something out there that can potentially impact or ruin your device. And we're also looking at a reality of time spent managing and repairing these devices. So when you think about your IT department, do they have the staff? Not only do they have the bodies, because we are running into instances where we are seeing IT departments that are having to do more with less. So not only do they have less budget, but they also have less physical bodies. But do they also have the time to be repairing these devices? Are there other more critical mission critical initiatives that they should be focusing on in order to ensure that the environment is up and running? So, and as we look at some of the different challenges that are created for IT, so the device lifespan, as I was saying, it doesn't necessarily always meet the refresh cycle. So it's important to understand the devices, the functionality, the needs, and when they need to be refreshed. Looking at spending on more time repairing the devices than focusing on strategic tasks. This was something that I was just talking about. Should your IT department be focusing on mission and critical activities? If your Wi-Fi is down, is it more important to refresh a device and work on a repair device, or should we get the network back up and running for all coworkers to access? These are things that we need to think about during the life cycle process. Documentation and consistency is imperative. It was a couple of weeks ago, I was on site with a large private university, and they don't asset tag their devices. At one time, they had somebody walking around with a clipboard that would take note of the devices, and just trying to keep track of the assets that are within an environment is a monumental task. So repair program process not meeting today's needs, hidden costs or deductibles can be out there. Think of your insurance claims. Are there things that we're not thinking about? Long repair turnaround times and lack of visibility into the IT tickets or help desk. So this is the current state that we're facing, not only within K-12, but this does lend into higher education and state and local as well. So as we look at life cycle management best practices, there's different phases to help plan this and put it into your environment to ensure that it works for well. And what we'll do is we'll start at like the 10, 11 o'clock hour and work around clockwise. So you always want to start in that discovery and design phase. work over into the deployment, then down to manage and refresh and recover. And we're going to take a deeper look into each part of these cycles as we go through them. And we will go through all of these phases to give some pointers and best practices on what to think about within the life cycle management approach here. So as we look in the design and discover stage, this is a sample of what an environment can look at through the course of some of the different ways that they refresh their devices. Now, obviously, you don't want to refresh everything all at once because that would be an incredible burden for somebody or any team to manage. But what you want to do is think about what sort of schedule do you want to get yourself on? Does it make sense for a different department to go first? Is there one that is vastly important to ensuring that your team or your environment succeeds? Maybe that's the one that you want to start with first. And then put some other departments subsequent in there so that you're on a refresh cycle, so that you're not always constantly doing at the same September, same time, same year, refreshing all of these. One of the other things you want to think about is demoing devices. So think about what functions and features you will need in a device. Oftentimes, different departments and different coworkers are going to have different needs. There are all kinds of devices that are out there. I will say the inside, the guts of a device, they're all the same. They're all the same chassis typically. They have all of the motherboard, the hard drive, and everything on the inside is typically the same. Your shell on the outside, obviously the logo, and then the warranty, those are going to be your differentiators. So looking into a couple of those options and spending time to determine what is going to be best for you and your environment is going to be critical in understanding what you implement into your environment. As I had mentioned, the demo program, CDW does provide demo programs at no charge where we ship out devices to our customers to test them out, see what you think. We've got more than 200 different devices in inventory. And just from some stats from 2024, there were more than 250 unique demo requests shipped in 2024. We had 600 devices demoed by customers, and we want you to be able to touch and feel and see what is going to work the best for you. And think about this when you go to buy a vehicle. You're not just going to say, that's the car that I want without taking it for a test drive. Think of it in the same way as when you are looking to implement different devices into your environment. So as we look onto the next part of the deployment cycle, this is where we talk about different configuration services that are out there and available. Now, not everybody chooses to take advantage of these. It also depends what is of most importance. So when we look at device provisioning, there's different things that can go onto a device so that when it does come to you, it is fully configured and you're ready to open it and get rocking and rolling with your work. We could put an image on it that can be a custom image that is unique to your environment. Autopilot for Intune. I do know that enrolling for Apple for DEP, even though we are not authorized for Apple for K-12, we are authorized in higher education and state and local. And that is something that is important to those customers. So when we look at that device provisioning, having it come to you with your applications that are already loaded immediately saves some time and gives that time back to your IT department. Asset tagging is something that I was talking about earlier, just keeping track of your assets so that your laptop does not develop feet and walk away and go home with a coworker and never make its way back to its place of environment or the coworker location. The different ways that we can asset tag, if you have an asset tag that is specific to your agency, you can send those to CDW and those can be implemented into the device. We can create customizable ones, and we just have standard generic ones that actually our devices all have them. It's just a little standard barcode. And then that way it gives you a printout of all of the devices. You understand the serial number that is on there, the end of support date, the device model, the specs. This helps give you information about when you should refresh this, if the warranty is going end of life, And then the other looming thing that is coming up in October is the end of support for Windows 11. All of that information is critical in understanding the life cycle and the lifespan of your device. Laser etching is something else that can be configured into the deployment. We see this a lot within education, specifically within higher education. For any different departments, we can put your name on it, a logo. Sometimes within K-12, they do have a district name for some of the administrative board or the executive board. But this acts as something that can help with marketing so that when you're out, on the back of my laptop are stickers, for example. So when mine is up, people will see some different Google or CDW or even field hockey stickers from me. But this can promote your department, your town, or your university. But it also acts as a theft deterrent. Nobody is going to want to take another device that doesn't belong to them if it's not something that they can say that they're a member of. So if you see somebody that's employed with a different district that has a district that's not theirs, that's a big red flag there. The last piece on deployment services is case applications. So protecting the devices that you've invested in. These devices, as I mentioned, get dropped so many times, or they can be dropped so many times. Having a case on it is helpful to help eliminate that. When you think about your phones, you've got a case on your phone as well to help protect the investment. You would want to think of the same with your devices. As we think about the delivery piece of deployments, we all want to think about sustainability and green efforts. So custom creating a package that is a multi-unit in a package to help reduce the amount of the peanuts or the styrofoam that comes in there, and taking all of that with us when we leave so that you have less waste on your hands. But when we do multi-unit packaging, we can put 10, 20, 40 devices in a box and ensure that we're eliminating that waste, reducing the deployment time, and getting more devices to you in a smaller package. And then the last piece of this is delivery and on-site deployment, which is specifically built for K-12. When you look at districts, and districts across the United States are different than they're here in Pennsylvania. We are just districted based, but I know in the South, you're county based. So you will have multiple buildings, and we can help with delivery and getting information into the local companies that can help to deliver to single or multiple sites, liftgate deliveries, because sometimes these boxes can be cumbersome, delivering in the classrooms, providing the asset reports of all of the asset tags for your devices so that you have them. Now, as we move into the management piece of the life cycle, we are talking about device protection. So ensuring that your warranty coverage is aligned with your device's planned retirement. There's nothing terrible that comes to mind when you need to go and put a claim in on your device, but your warranty has run out. So making sure that that is aligned so that everything works cohesively is critical. Unlimited accidental damage protection is something that we always recommend. You never know what's going to happen at any given time. This will protect users who will have multiple incidents within a year. Obviously, nobody wants to have multiple incidents on their in a year on their device. Sometimes there are things outside of our control that happen, and having that, it's a good just to think about, might be a nice to have if you're able to have that. But as I had mentioned previously, having a case, we see anywhere between a 30 to 35% reduction in breakage. And if you look at the pictures here, there's some additional right around the corners here. So it's just some of those soft points. You know, it always happens when you drop your phone, you drop it on the corner, and that's where that splintering happens. So there's additional buffer areas around the corner and the sensitive areas to help reduce the amount of breakage and issue that you may see. So when you look at underwritten warranty, what is it? When a warranty provider or reseller is self-assured, it means that there is no separate entity, such as an insurance policy or a company, that supports that warranty policy. Why does it matter? If a company declares bankruptcy, that party is not going to be able to maintain the warranty for you. back in 2022, stay mobile. And I can get the hyperlink out for Kara to send to everybody on this. This company had lots of insurance claims that were out there for their constituents, and they declared bankruptcy, and they weren't able to fulfill the warranties for anything else that came through from their company. So this actually helps to ensure that anybody that has gone out of business, or if they've been acquired and the warranties don't roll over, you are not left without the coverage. Because let's face it, these devices are mobile. Something is going to happen unless it stays on a desk all day, every day. So this helps to ensure that we are protecting your company's investment, your district's investment, or anything of that nature. CDW does offer extended device protection service powered by Lexicon. So this is a partnership that we work with that's underwritten by AIG. It supports all devices that are out there, from Chrome, Windows, and iOS devices. And we are able to help get additional units out there and get them under service for you all. There's no questions asked, no claims need to be submitted. There's always ADP included in these because we know how important it is. There's typically an average turnaround time of 10 days or less for a request or a repair. And there's also customized reporting and analysis for the assets in the program. So you understand which device is out of your environment and getting repaired. And if there is a spare device that has come in to ensure that that student or coworker has a device while theirs is being repaired, that is all in the asset tracker and in the reporting for you. And this also helps to just eliminate the flat rate repairs that are out there. So it can get expensive if you have a break here, a repair there, and sending them out onesie twosie, rather than coupling them all together and sending maybe 5 to 8 devices out at a time and then getting them back. It just becomes a bit more efficient in a way to operate in that manner. So when we look at what I was talking about, the IT service management and having the ticketing and the incident IQ so that you know where your devices are, this is a sample dashboard that will show what is going on with your devices and where they are and what is happening. You can even see on the right-hand side here that this particular snapshot shows that this particular Dell Latitude has a broken display. This one has keys missing on the keyboard. This Acer Chromebook, the touchscreen is misaligned. So the amount of information that gives to your IT department to understand not only where their devices are, what's wrong with them, but where they are in the ticket process, and what the estimated time for coming back is important to understand, to manage operations, to help support the activities, to better serve your stakeholders, your students, and anybody else that is in your environment. And this will also help them sort the devices that are coming in because they have a warning on them if they are a critical, a high, a medium, or a low alert. Obviously, if the CIO of a large research institution is without his or her device, that's going to be a critical ticket, and we want to make sure that we get that device back into the hands of that CIO. I'm not going to spend so much time here on Gopher Premium. This is one of the ways that Google users can manage a lot of the applications that are on the Chrome OS. So this is more for Google Admin Console. I do understand that there may be other people listening and watching here who are not on the Google console, but this can help give the Google admin a lot of information into a single Google sheet that will look into activity for individual user sessions. You'll be able to see storage utilization. You can deprovision groups who may not have had access to a certain application. And it just really helps the Google admin become more organized and understanding of what is going on within the environment. On the contrary, so when we have Microsoft users, there are different assessments that are out there to ensure that all of the devices, if they have a needs assessment, that the bundles, the licenses, that everything is up to date, ensuring that the security protocols are intact. And then the big one is the readiness assessment for Windows 11. So as of October 2025, Windows 10 is going to be phased out, and schools, different universities, and state and local agencies are going to have to put together a plan, if you have not already, to migrate those devices, upgrade them to Windows 11, or transition them out with new devices. This is a huge initiative that is going on within the IT industry, and tons of conversations about this. This is going to be a big change in October for many users. The last piece of the life cycle is refresh and recover. Now, I don't know about you all, but when I look at something like this, I immediately get heart palpitations just looking at all of these old devices that are out there. When you think about them, what do you do with them? You know, if you're in California, you got a recycling fee that is instituted on your orders that can help with some of that. But for the rest of us, we don't know what to do with those recycling of devices. And it has to be done in a safe and compliant way. There could be sensitive information on there. You need to make sure that your devices are wiped clean of the information that is out there. You don't want to have any risk out there of somebody hacking into a device and getting some sensitive information. So when we look at, I'll come back to that Windows 10. Where is my e-waste? Here it is. Refresh and recover. There is recycling and buyback programs for IT that people may not realize. I'm fortunate that I live in a township where my township provides a data. Not only do we have a, my mind is blanking. Sorry, it just went, oh my goodness. Anyway, I will come back to that. But my township, not only do they provide a data and computer recycling event, but they also have different programs to help bring those in there. And it's powered by a company that will guarantee they wipe the drives and take everything. You think about it, you can't put, or you shouldn't put a monitor or a computer or any of that into your trash to go away with your local trash company. That's just going to sit in a, man, I'm really struggling right now talking about waste, and I don't know why, but it's going to sit in a landfill, and that's where it should not go. But when we talk about e-waste solutions, we're talking about the potential to receive account credit based on what is out there. There are companies that will buy back your technology. They will wipe it clean. They will repurpose it. Sometimes they will auction it off to others who will buy that, and then they will perform, will give you a credit of that monetary value. Some others, resellers or companies like CDW that you may work with can take that equipment, and we can provide that as a credit for a future purchase of anything that you may need. But it's a nice avenue to have this, because if you look around in your office or your state of work and your environment, there's technology everywhere, and just trying to thoughtfully recycle and dispose of it, many people may not think about what goes into that. So having an opportunity to refresh and recover those is a great way to look at the different options that are out there. Now, I did want to go back to this Windows support, because I did mention it. In addition to, so I think it's just important to really come back here with the different options. So I had mentioned you can upgrade to Windows 11, but just be careful, not every device has the capacity to do that. You can also purchase a new device. Understand there are budget restraints with that. But you can also move to Windows 11 Pro on the cloud with Windows 365. So there are different ways for you to go about this, and your IT department should be looking into this. If they are not, please have them get in touch with whomever you solicit for your technology equipment, because Microsoft is not going to be providing any information on bug fixes, no Patch Tuesday, no security fixes for vulnerabilities, time zone updates, something we may take for granted. But any of that is going to be coming end of life on October 14th. So if there is anything you take out of our time here today, is please just remember October 14th is a very important day for upgrading your devices. Now, continuing on within the refresh and recover. Oops, went by one too quickly. So as I was talking about the e-waste and the recycling of your devices, so one of the things that is important to note is sending a list of your devices and your serial numbers, because that will also help validate what is out there. This also comes back into play when you're managing your assets and you have your asset report of everything that is out there. It's a seamless way for you to be able to hand over that report and get it over to the e-waste solution provider. They will give you a quote. You can accept the quote. You can prepare your devices, ship them out, or what have you. But this is just a great new way to help provide our customers a way to get rid of the cumbersome technology that we have out there. So again, as we look at this, going through the entire process, even if you just start today, just by thinking about what are the important departments, how many devices are in your environment, what different platforms are there, just looking at the different OSs and the different providers, that is going to be key in helping you to understand what is going to work best for you. And there's no one size fits all plan for anybody. These are going to be unique to you all, what all you can manage, what makes the most sense for your IT departments, and for your users as well. And one of the other final pieces that I will leave here, as I had mentioned, the devices, they're typically on the inside all the same, but what makes that differentiating piece on the outside is that warranty. So think about what is most important. If you're a district, it's amazing how many times students are picking the keys off of the keyboard. There are providers out there who will limit the times that they can replace a key on a keyboard. And there are also companies out there that will give you unlimited keyboard fixes. So just take the time to do the research, try different devices, demo them, get in contact with your CDW account manager, or if you're not a customer of CDW, that is totally fine. Work with your IT provider, understand what ways can you look to demo equipment, get them into your environment, feel them out, try them, understand what's going to be important and what's going to work the best for you. This is just coming back up here, the different things that we ran through here today of the phases of the life cycle. And with that, I will open it up to any questions that are in the chat from Kara.
Okay. This first one is from me. You talked a lot about e-waste and what to do when you're retiring devices from your fleet. CDW doesn't provide those services, right?
We will partner them out. So we ourselves don't use them. So as a reseller, we don't manufacture anything. We don't take them back, but we do have partners within our partner network that we work with that do take them back. Planet ROI is one that comes to mind that we work with, that they will formulate a plan, they will take a list of inventory and buy back your devices from you all. So we do have partners in our system that work on that.
Okay. And AEPA does have one vendor on contract that does those services, called Total Technology. So if anyone's interested in that, you can reach out to your local state rep for AEPA and get information on that. So we do have a couple of questions that popped up. What is included in device deployment services?
So when you look at device deployment services, there's so many different things to look at. So first and foremost, procurement. So that demo time period really comes back and is important. So selection and acquisition of the devices that's tailored to the needs of the environment. So that's the first piece. And then when you look at going around that circle, so deployment, so configuration, integration, and the delivery of devices to the environment, the managing of them, so the ongoing maintenance, the updates, making sure that the security protocols are intact, software updates, and the support. The security piece, that's huge in this day and age. So ensuring that the protection of devices from data breaches, threats, if there's an initiative in your environment where you don't want USB drives, there's protocols that you can install. So even if a USB drive is installed into a port onto your device, it won't work. So that's something that is included in deployment devices. And then the disposal piece. So being environmentally responsible with the retirement and recycling of old and outdated devices.
So you mentioned ensuring device security during your services. Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Sure. So device security is super important. So ensuring that your device is protected inside and out. So once you install into a network, if your network is not a private network, which I would imagine that most of us are working from a private network, that nobody can get into your device. So I think about a couple of years ago, there was a collegiate institution in New Jersey that a student had hacked into the network and took all of the printers offline during finals week so that they couldn't take their tests. So we want to make sure that security during security in the life cycle is something that is top of mind. So various measures to safeguard devices. There's encryption, endpoint protection, so that each device has its own set of protection protocols, regular security audits to ensure that everything is working in the way that there is and there's no vulnerabilities. And if you are experiencing vulnerabilities, you find where they are and you mitigate them. And then I think the final piece is what I was just mentioning about protecting against unauthorized users and other security threats from getting in. I feel like every day we see a different hack or security breach, or information is being sold to somebody. So just ensuring that security protocols are up to date and in place, it's a very important piece, and partners are going through all of those examples that I just provided to ensure that we're doing the best that we can to keep you all protected.
Okay. And the final question, what is the standard turnaround time for devices to be repaired and returned once they're sent to CDW for repair?
So I think it depends on how many devices there are. So I think what we used to see when we were talking with our customers about it, it can go anywhere from 2 weeks to probably 3 months. Our typical standard turnaround time is 10 days, and that is the SLA, the service level agreement that we try to strive for. We know that it's important for students and coworkers to have devices in their hands. We want them to learn. We want them to be productive. So typically 10 days is a standard turnaround time if there is a repair that needs to be done. Again, we recommend batching them together so that there's not always device going out and coming back in, but just try to work a bit more efficiently on that. But 10 days is the typical turnaround time that we strive for.
Okay. Seeing no more questions, I want to thank everyone who joined us today, and thank you, Melissa, for all this great information. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your AEPA state representative. You can go to our website at aepacoop.org and click on the contact page to find out who that is if you're not aware. And be sure to keep an eye out for more information on our upcoming sessions. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. So have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.